are live. Welcome to the Renegade podcast. I'm your host, Dashing Rogue, with my frequent sidekick, Artistic Layman.
People always say, name one thing a white male can't have. Okay, an opinion. Opinions are liberating. I literally get paid for mine.
That is so awesome. I wish I could get paid for mine. I mean, that's sort of like the American dream right now, is to basically be a political commentator like John Stewart, essentially.
Yes.
Or
St. Uger, if you really want to go that low.
Chunk Yu-Gi-Oh, the water buffalo himself, which apparently you've been reading his fucking book, apparently.
Yeah, apparently it's the St. Uger, the book, which is called Justice is Coming, How the Progressives Are Going to Take Over America, and We're Going to Love It. And it is it's interesting in the same way that Mein Kampf is interesting, because you can find out what his mindset is.
What?
Like, seriously, if you want to know, like, people always say, oh, you shouldn't read the people's books. You say, well, no, read their books so you know what their mindsets are, and Shank falls into that category.
So, like, from what you were telling me, the guy was basically just, he's like, if the popular poll exists, we should do it. If the majority of people says let's, go steal someone's car, we should do it, essentially.
Yeah,
right?
His thesis, as far as I could tell, I'm only a couple chapters in, but his thesis seems to be that, progressive policies are the majority popular policies. And these policies are held by the vast majority of people, according to polling data or whatever metric he's using. And his theory is that these policies, because we live in a democracy, they should be enforced in the law. And the only reason why they're not is because of corruption. And the media, rather than exposing this corruption, are complicit in this, and because they all know that the majority of people hold this view, and so they're lying for the politicians who don't listen to the majority view.
It's not the fact that there are checks and balances in place. It's not that there are certain things that are just natural and true. Like property rights and things such as that are in the way. So, like, if I decide to say, "Hey, Luke, we're all gonna vote to take away your car, so I could get a new car," right?
Yeah,
that's basically what they're doing.
Yeah, this is one of the more interesting examples he gives, like, or at least the ones I'm more aware of. He says the vast majority of Americans want to tax the rich at higher rates, and he says that Trump's tax cuts cost us $2 trillion. And that's really shocking when you realize that America has, like, for the last couple of years, has $3 trillion in revenue. But here's the thing, we didn't lose half of our revenue because of those tax cuts. And so I don't know what he's talking about. He seems to say, oh, higher tax cuts are good because they're progressive issues and vast majority of support them. But I don't support them because they don't create revenue. So that's not really an argument. So he's lying or misleading his audience. Well, obviously, because that's... Or he either believes
he's
himself.
a water buffalo.
He's the water buffalo, yes.
That's all you need to know. I mean, animals need to be put in zoos. Case in point, did you see that fucking sad excuse for a human being fucking getting stabbed? And then, I swear to you, Luke, the world is becoming more and more like a fucking D&D campaign. Oh. The guy literally fights trying to defend his girlfriend in New York.
Oh, he was stabbed?
He was stabbed, yeah.
Oh.
And he tripped. He literally got a natural 1, and the fucking orc decided to finish the job. Oh. I ain't joking. I'll show you. We'll watch it, because it's absolutely disgusting. It's disgusting.
I saw it, yeah.
Yeah, it could have been worse. Could have been like the ending of Goblin Slayer if we weren't dealing with orcs, because orcs are a proud, noble warrior race.
But fortunately, in this version, the female orc went to the human orc and says, "Don't worry, I'm totally sorry for what happened." Like, oh, good grief.
Is that what happened?
That's what I remember. I think that's what she said on the camera. It's like at least they were trying to clear up some sort of it's just a misunderstanding. Like, no, that's bad. It's bad.
You're a violent person. Let's see if I can find it here. I have it laid out here. Where is it? No, it's not that one. There are other things.
There's a different one?
No, there's another one that popped out. Here's one for you. Here's one that was that was popping off. This is going with the whole J-Cat theme. Now, I'll tell you this. This woman's not racist. She's not an SJW, but she is mentally disabled. And I want to see if you could point out exactly.
Was this in a Walmart?
This was in a Walmart. Walmart.
Oh yeah, no negative stereotypes going on here, folks.
Well, I mean, let's be frank. Poor Jimmy Buffett, man. Poor Jimmy Buffett. Here we go.
Let's see what's happening here.
Can you tell
Twitter.
what is a telltale sign that you think, Luke, when you look at this and say, how do you know this person's crazy and not just a fucking crazy socialist? They actually are crazy, like legitimately mental.
Let's see what's this.
Telltale sign. Keep going. Play it.
Oh, that's subtle.
keep playing. Keep playing. Luke.
I know. I'll play. I have not seen this before.
You've never seen this before.
No.
Well, do you notice? All right, you want to know? Your time's up. Do you know why I think this person's crazy? Besides the fact that they're cleaning the floor with their fat, sloppy fucking body.
Why?
You know why? Look at her socks. You see how they have those grip socks? Those grip socks. That's how you know. If anyone wears those grip socks and you see them in public, that's the mental health. Those are the psych ward socks. So this woman, this is in her first rodeo. She's probably she's not even an SJW. She's probably one of those people who are just using SJW tactics to, try to summon the SJW army, the undead army, to fight up on her behalf, right?
I've heard this magic spell works, so I'm going to use it too.
Yeah, exactly. Racism, calling someone a racist is like the equivalent of calling someone just a sexist. It doesn't ever turn to end well. And it has like actual, powerful connotations. We don't like racism. We don't like sexism. But when you do shit like this, everybody's recording this shit. I mean, I just love it. It's beautiful. Like I hate to be the guy who says this, but the biggest deterrent against this shit is the fucking phone in your hand.
Yes.
This person, the only people who would actually care about this shit are the people who don't give a fuck about having a reputation. This fat old hag is hey, she's a J-cat. She's fucking a J-category fucking inmate. That's what you're dealing with.
Did she try to run out of the store with all that candy? Like, what was it that happened?
Well, we don't know, but keep playing it.
This is like a skit from Murdoch. This is ridiculous.
Walmart is equal to or greater than racism. That's what I get out of this. Or Jimmy Buffett.
Even the cameraman's laughing.
Fuck.
This is just one last one from the front.
It's a tribal drug.
Good looking her up.
Honestly, I think there should be a law when you have to deal with these type of people. Because I'll tell you this: they're gonna need at least 3 people to get this fat girl into the car, okay? And probably 4 or 5 to get her out, right? Not because she's fat, but because she has a lot of girth to her. She doesn't have to throw her weight around.
Okay. Hands behind the back. Okay, got it secure.
It's
wow.
fucking racist. So let's see if I can pull it up here. Just give you guys some education. You could play this and record this, Luke. Record it with your voice track AI thing.
Oh, my 11 labs. Let's see what we got here.
Your 11 labs.
What? Oh, the socks. What is this?
Yep, the psych ward socks. What are psych ward socks, and why do patients wear them?
OMG, I love hospital socks. I might still have a pair. I get them from a psych ward whenever I go, but I never want to go back. YouTube comment.
Yep. And that's how you, again, if you look at her socks, compare it to the socks in these photos, you will know that it's the same person. It's the same type of person. So if you encounter people like this, which, by the way, if you happen to come upon them, let's say in a what the fuck is it? In a like a Goodwill or something, don't buy them. They are a clear sign and indicator that you're a fucking J-cat. And for those who want to know what a J-cat is, let's see if I can find it here, Urban Dictionary. J-Cat. It's an old term that we have from the old country. J-Cat.
Which old country?
Oh, the old country before it got taken over. The New California, Cuba, basically.
Oh.
Before the communists took over, we had to go to like America, the inner lands, away from the coastal regions and the elites. So a J-Cat, noun, literally meaning J category.
Let's see. So let's
California prison slang.
Let's see how our voice of Ellie gives us a story.
Let's hear it.
When it comes to mental health facilities, some things are pretty standard. Locked doors, surveillance cameras, heavy furniture, and a general lack of privacy. But there's one item that seems to have taken on a life of its own in recent years: the grippy sock. Grippy socks, or non-skid socks, are the slipper-like socks that are given to patients in hospitals, nursing homes, and psychiatric facilities. They're designed to provide grip and prevent falls, which is especially important for patients who may be unsteady on their feet. These socks are also used in psych wards, where patients may be experiencing extreme emotions and can be more prone to accidents. Patients in psychiatric wards may be disoriented, confused, or impulsive. These socks provide extra traction on slick floors and reduce the risk of slips and falls.
It didn't help her, now, did she? She's on her ass now.
Oh, I think she tried to just drag herself to the floor because she couldn't escape.
No, but again, for those who pull up a clip of it.
Hold on, let me get a picture. Let me get the picture here.
There we go.
Let's see. My Prince Charming came to my rescue with the psych ward tower.
That is surprisingly a very. That's actually very disturbing, believe it or not. That is like is BPD in a nutshell.
Although
Holy
I think
shit.
the scene's from Cinderella when they're putting on the glass slipper.
Yeah, but it's not a glass slipper. This is legitimately prisoner clothes. Okay, this is one step above prisoner clothes. Keep going.
While these socks are a common sight in any hospital, they have taken on a new meaning in the context of mental health. Social media platforms and online forums have given rise to a community of people who have shared their experiences in psychiatric hospitals. And
this is where the internet's kind of a mistake.
I could use some grippy spot. Becca Beckloff. Awesome. Welcome, buddy.
Often through the symbol of the grippy sock. Are psych ward socks different from regular hospital socks? It's worth noting that the grippy socks you receive...
I love how the AI inflected the title sequence.
You gotta love these AIs. They're getting better and better. Yeah, but them crazy girls, they are so much fun. They absolutely are, but like, no.
I'd rather not find out, honestly.
There you go. You're innocent, Luke. Keep it that way.
Receive at a psych ward are the same as those given out in hospitals and nursing homes. They're designed to be anti-slip and help prevent falls, regardless of where you're staying. Do different sock colors have different meanings? Majority of the time, the only color that has significance is yellow, which indicates a fall risk patient. What's interesting, though, is how patients across different facilities often feel a connection to the sock itself. In the hospital, patients usually love to receive hospital socks because it helps keep them warm and cozy in a tough environment. We've heard a lot of people also collecting socks for their sock drawer and continue to wear them for years. In nursing homes, older folks love the free socks and pop of color they get. And in psych wards, it's become a funny symbol to connect with other patients or people online who are going through similar mental health issues. Seeking a dose of happiness? Check out Dr. Sacco's Fun and Functional Socks. In all these environments, grippy socks have been seen as the only good takeaway from an often bleak and tough situation.
Oh, I think the AI is breaking apart at this point.
The AI is like realizing we're using it to talk about crazy socks. Psych ward socks.
Regardless of where you are, it's clear that these grippy socks have a special and often funny place in the hearts of patients everywhere. The rise of the psych ward socks meme. The term grippy sock vacation has been used on Reddit and other social media platforms to refer to a stay in a psychiatric hospital. The phrase is often used humorously as a way to make light of a difficult situation. However, it also points to the fact...
It's called fashion. Look it up. Yeah. No. You don't seem to understand what... If you were here earlier, Beckloff, you would have understood that the whole reason why we're bringing this up is because when you have the fat woman screaming... Show it, Luke.
Let's see.
And you see the grippy sock. Again, you see the grippy socks, you know you're dealing with somebody who actually has been to the psych ward. So we're dealing with, so this is not just some, entitled a grippy sock invasion, vacation. Yeah, no, actually, a grippy sock invasion is worse, Luke.
Oh dear.
That's what happened to California. It was literally a grippy sock invasion.
Oh dear.
I don't know. Oh, but yeah, that's what we're dealing with. So let's see what else we got here. Okay,
Many people who have been hospitalized for mental health issues feel isolated and alone. By connecting through the shared experience of wearing the same socks, they can find a sense of community and understanding.
Luke.
It was too perfect. I couldn't resist.
Perfect. Alrighty. So here, I got a few other things besides the J-Cats. Let's start with this one. There we go, Luke.
Ooh, what's this?
This is heresy. I cannot believe it's not Heresy Volume 2.
The J-Cat. Now, this is from Urban Dictionary. Literally mean J category, California prison slang. A commonly used phrase in California prisons indicating a mentally unstable person or someone whom is intentionally or unintentionally acting mentally unstable. Oh, most commonly refers to as person who's been involuntarily admitted in mental health services, but also may be used as a derogatory adjective. So
That's
it's kind of broad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a broad category, but that's what a J-Cat is an example of. Well, let's just say I'm not going to say this person that we're going to show is a J-Cat, but the person previously absolutely was a J-Cat. But I'll let you decide whether this person or not is a J-Cat. Play it, Luke.
Wait. Oh, what is?
Jesus Christ!
What? What is this?
No, watch your profanity.
Who is he, and why is he such a big deal in the world today?
Does no one know who Jesus is? Is he talking to the people in the pantheist world? Like, does he not know?
Well, you do know that his book is like the #1, bestseller of all time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like next to Ayn Rand's fucking Atlas Shrugged. It far outpaces The Origin of Species, and it definitely outpaces The God Delusion.
Although, to be fair, the difference is he inspired that book, whereas the others had to write their books.
Well, in a lot of ways you're correct. That's like the
Kind of like Socrates and Plato.
Or the Canterbury Tales, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a amalgamation of various psalms as well as fucking proverbs.
Mm-hmm.
Quite literally in this regard. Keep playing it.
Jesus might be one of the biggest mysteries. To some people, he is literally the embodiment of the fullness of God. And to others, he never existed. The historical evidence of him is also strange.
No, he had existed. There is no doubt that he historically existed. That's basically a historical fact at this point. There's no way of denying it. Like, people disagree on what Jesus was, but there's no doubt he existed. Anyone who tells you that he doesn't exist, they're listening to the false historians. Even Bart Ehrman says, like the ideal agnostic historian, he says, no, Jesus existed.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to play that Jesus didn't exist, I'm going to play that the argument of that Diogenes never existed. And Diogenes did exist. He never wrote any of his shit down, but he was important enough to have Michelangelo and feature him in the, I think it was the picture, the painting of the Academy, of Plato's Academy.
Uh-oh. The thumbnail says Chapter 1. Is this a multi-level series?
This is a multi-level Gnostic indoctrination.
Oh, boy.
So let's get into it.
With it both seeming self-evident and non-existent, which is paradoxical to say the least. Isn't it about time that these kinds of questions about Jesus were answered? Especially when it comes to the question of relationship between Jesus Christ and Christ consciousness? For those who...
That's your theory, not true. He never talked about Christ consciousness.
Luke, you need to open your mind and not let your ego take control.
I'll stop.
You need to accept the
I can't let the demiurge control my thoughts. I can't let the demiurge. I need to free my mind from the demiurge.
From our iconic oppressors, mate.
Who is apparently in this version is Yahweh.
Yeah, exactly.
Followed spirit science for a time. Way back in the beginning, we created the original human history movie, and in it discussed the coming of Jesus, his birth, death, and resurrection. We explored the idea that his life was one which created a pathway for us to reach something called Christ consciousness, a state of embodying the divine qualities intrinsic to our being. However,
Nope.
even this idea today must be challenged because the traditional
Because the
Christian
old
thinking is
because
that
the Old
Jesus-
Testament doesn't exist to give us that narrative.
No, because we're in a perpetual state of revolution, and we can never actually achieve enlightenment here on Earth or utopia. So we have to constantly go back and revise Jesus into a transgender male. Don't you know?
As above, so below. As above, so above is an endless spiral screwdriver.
Yep. And the only way to
Jesus-
get out of it is to basically laugh at the stupid people.
alone is God. Naturally, as you might expect, this conversation is a very sensitive subject, which must be approached with great care, since we are addressing a precious belief system which is a part of many religions today. Truth can be known, but it requires humility and surrender in the face of our own shortcomings in order to see it. We must all be careful here, for when anyone attaches themselves to a position or opinion without allowing for different ideas or perspective,
Bible,
Yeah.
Quran. Like, I'm pretty sure we can know which one was which, or Bible versus the Book of Mormon,
Gnostic
or
bullshit.
Quran. What was that called? Not Nolvis of Karam. What's it called?
Almost malfactum?
No. The Gnostic book. The Corpus Hermeticum,
Not-
and the Book of Mormon.
Non-commodity library. Kill it all with one
they limit their
stone.
understanding. Some of the brightest minds and most successful people in the world are those who can hold multiple paradoxical ideas in their minds at the same time.
Those people are insane.
No, those people. What? Play that again.
Those people are
Play that
insane.
Brightest minds, and must all be careful here, for when anyone attaches themselves to a position or opinion without allowing for different ideas or perspectives, they limit their understanding. Some of the brightest minds and most successful people in the world are those who can hold multiple paradoxical ideas in their minds at the same time. And we-
Example, please.
That is no. He's trying to go with the whole Aristotle concept, or I think it was either Socrates or Aristotle. The idea that you could entertain two different ideas in your head and not accept any one of them as true. That's actually what Aristotle said. He didn't say you could hold the idea that the sky is blue and that the sky is green at the same time. One is the facts, one is the fiction. That you could hold it as fiction. You could label it and categorize it as fiction. You don't simultaneously believe that the sky is blue and green at the same fucking time.
Yeah, that's not contradiction. That's paradox.
It is quite you're not both alive and dead. You know, women are not both male and female. Okay, and yeah, I'll fucking say it.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
we would all be wise to practice this. Therefore, today we wish to extend an invitation. No matter where you may be coming from, let us together thoroughly discuss the nature of Christ and not stop until we arrive at a higher understanding and a greater truth. This is a collective journey, and so along this adventure, which will be made in many parts, please share your experiences and wisdom in the comments below. Even for us,
No.
this series is a learning journey.
No,
and so let us
it's
each be mindful
squandered
of
on you.
all of the
No.
information against the metric of our own conscience and belief system. Have your own experience. and decide
Beckloff
for-
would love to be on here.
Yes. You want to get him in?
We can get him in. We can bring it. We can summon the Bulbasaur to our Bulbasaur. I choose you. Where are you? Let me
Okay,
see. I'll send it to you via.
Oh yeah, does he have a link? Oh yeah, you can send him a link.
I will give him the link. Give me 1 second. Bulbasaur, I
yourself what
choose
makes the most
you.
sense to believe in. And before we really jump in, one more disclaimer is needed. We have a ton of ground to cover here. Over the past 2,000 years, the words of Jesus Christ have been explored around the world by billions. And today, there are over 45,000 denominations of Christianity globally.
Wait. Are you sure about that?
40. How many did he say?
45,000.
That is an extremely low amount. I mean,
Are you sure? Low
40
amount? I mean, are we just talking about schisms, or are we just talking about like particular cults?
well, again, this is like the equivalent of trying to conflate mass shootings with gun violence, right?
Right.
You know, not every Christian, you know, not like again, there are people out there who will literally just say Christ consciousness, like he's talking about, and they're not Christian at all. Hey, Beckloff, how you doing? I can hear you. Well, again, this is like the equivalent of trying to conflate mass shootings with gun violence, right? I can hear a little bit of reverb. How you doing? I'll figure it out. He'll figure it out. Keep going, Luke, because this is
There's
up his alley.
A lot of ground to cover.
We got a lot
And
of
while
ground to
so many
cover.
do their best to uphold the wisdom and teachings of Christ, not all of them agree, and some even seem to go against what Christ taught. Further, there are both orthodox literal interpretations.
The Crusades. You know, I'll wait. Let me get to his argument. Let's wait until he
Let
gets
me
to
get his argument. Can you hear me now, Beckloff?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I can hear you.
Cool.
Let's
So
continue.
I got to say, this sequel to the movie 9 is pretty gay so far.
They gave up the CGI for a 2D.
Well, it's just that now the little sock puppet robot's gay and he's talking heresy, and I don't really get the plot.
We'll figure it out. There's a reason behind everything. I guarantee you.
But there is a good lesson in that movie, though. Sometimes fear is the appropriate response.
Yes.
Well, I love how, like, most of what this is why it's frustrating. Most of what they're saying is, like, almost true or kind of true. Like that's what's frustrating. They'll say something like, "And Jesus lived to provide a path for us." I'm like, yeah, something there.
Yep.
Yes.
I even kind of agree with the idea of keeping paradoxical ideas in your mind. I think even Christianity's full of that. I think anybody that claims they understand the Trinity is probably slipping into heresy. Anybody that claims they really understand the distinction between, or the balance, I should say, between God's sovereignty and your free will is probably slipping into heresy.
Yep.
Although,
just don't think about it.
Although it would be very difficult to believe that God exists and doesn't exist at the same time. That might be what he's talking about.
Yeah, that's a little different. But,
but we're talking about spirit science here, so that's probably what he's asking for.
He probably is.
I would say another way to reword that is a truly smart person is somewhat content in understanding how little they know.
That's fair.
Knowing that you know nothing is the pinnacle of all wisdom.
Mystical interpretations surrounding Jesus, and we want to appropriately explore both of these.
To which the Bible says, no, the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom.
Yep.
But with different philosophers.
Certainly, some might be offended that we cover one side or the other, but we really want to be respectful to all perspectives and reconcile them against each other. And so, this series...
We're going to synthesize them.
Yep.
We're going to have an idea, be against its opposite, and synthesize it.
Going to begin with a more orthodox tone, starting on familiar territory to the story of Jesus. And as we continue to explore, we will break into mystical ground by discussing Gnostic Christianity and other mystical interpretations, and seeing if and how these perspectives fit together in order to find the ultimate truth.
That's not a bad idea.
So consider while we get started. It doesn't matter if we believe in a higher power unless we believe that we have access to it. It does not matter if we confess that God has come in the flesh unless we are willing to understand that we are that flesh. One could even identify as atheist if it is the false gods they are refusing to acknowledge. By viewing these ideas from multiple perspectives, instead of just our own, we may come to find that it's not who's right that's important, but who's righteous. Those who are characterized by justice and virtue.
He was down there on the bottom of the hill. Not this guy. Down on the bottom of the hill.
No, that they literally, you literally could just say, I'm going to join the army of Allah and rape all the kafir. Like that, if it's not who's right, it's who's righteous. Everyone thinks they're fucking right. Just, what the fuck?
As a collective, we are standing on the shoulders of spiritual and intellectual giants who have brought us to see as far as we can today. Our entire reality is built upon the minds, hearts, and hands of those who came before us. And so, may it be our intention here today to learn from our past, not from one exclusive perspective, but by weighing all perspectives with that which is pure and true. It is our...
Look at that. The church surrounded by all these modern buildings.
Reject modernity and embrace tradition.
Yeah, I don't mind modern architecture. I just hate brutalism.
Yeah.
I like weird modern architecture. I like the stuff that's all pointy and irregular. It's interesting. I wouldn't want a whole city looking like that, but I think every city should have one building that was just built by a madman.
I like the Apple
visibly built by a madman. That way you make a leftover at that pointy monstrosity.
Just pure and true. It is our hope that from this Christ series, regardless of where we stand in relation to the subject, we may all come a little bit closer to truth, and in doing so, come a little bit closer to each other.
No, how about closer to God? I can't be the only one who's pointing out this is happening on October, not in December.
It's a nice little tune, though.
It's like Veggie Tales.
The mysteries of the Word of God. What was this called? The Apocalypse of Jesus.
Uh-oh.
In the traditional Christian understanding, Jesus is seen as the incarnation and embodiment of God the Father in a mortal body, the very same absolute deity and creator of the universe who spoke to Moses through the burning bush. We might like to start with a question such as, is Jesus God? And in order to answer that question, let's begin with some defining terms so we can get on the same page together. Firstly, the word Christ is a word which means anointed, translated from the Hebrew word for Messiah, which today has come to designate Jesus as the Savior of the world. These words also intrinsically signify heir to the throne of David, linking Jesus' personal genealogy to the greater biblical history and prophecies of the Jewish people. Before Jesus, the term anointed was used in the Jewish Torah to describe kings who would be anointed with oil. It was only then, after his coming, that the term was applied exclusively to him in Christianity, as not just anointed with physical oil, but the divine oil of God, meaning the essential Holy Spirit. As the Messiah, Jesus was spiritually anointed to proclaim and fulfill the good news of salvation to humanity. However, the term Christ...
But what was death and resurrection?
However, Luke. However, Pillsbury Doughboy knows best.
Oh boy, here we go.
...is only one of many which have been applied to the person of Jesus. All of these names must be addressed together to paint a picture that can be used as a framework of understanding. Anyone familiar with the story of Jesus might know him as the way, the truth, the life, the Son of God, Son of Man, unblemished Lamb of God, Great Shepherd, Logos, and Light, as well as by many other names such as Hosanna, Emmanuel, Lord, Redeemer, and so on.
Okay, that was actually kind of cool.
This anime sucks. Although, like a good JRPG, it is about killing God.
Yeah.
Oh
Yep.
boy. Or in this case, becoming God.
Jesus Christ, didn't
Same thing.
I hope that wasn't blasphemy.
What did he say?
Oh no, what Bekeloff said. Same thing. Becoming God is killing God.
Oh, God.
Oh, indeed.
Blasphemy, the act or offense of speaking sacrilegiously about God or sacred things. Profane talk. Huh, I guess we're good. All of these names seem to set Jesus apart.
At least he's being respectful.
You know, there's a part in the actual like Marvel comic story of Thanos where he gets the Infinity Gauntlet and he basically is God of the universe.
Uh-huh.
And he's actually insanely miserable about it.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because in the comics, he wants to fuck death, like literally. He's in love with the goddess of death.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he gets the gauntlet, she's just like, "Well, I have to do whatever you say, I guess." And he's like, "Well, that's not how I wanted this." And it's just miserable. And even like pre-Christian, when I read that, I was familiar enough with Christianity to think like this is basically the story of like if the devil won, how much he'd hate it.
From the other
Like
gods,
just
various
sitting there on God's throne, like, well, shit. Now what?
No, there actually is a cartoon called The Chosen One where the devil is played by Tim Curry, and that's the story. That's actually the story.
Fucking Tim Curry playing the devil again, Luke. Again, he's playing the devil.
But it's the version where the devil and God are friends, and he's like trying to teach God, and God's trying to learn a lesson about life.
Oh, so it's like something that fucking Neil the Cuck Gaiman would fucking come up with.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the cartoon? It was one of those adult animated shows in the 90s. I think it only went a few episodes. It was called God, the Devil, and Bob.
Oh, yes.
And
Yeah,
it was one of those kind of like, you know, God and the devil arguing over a human soul type stories. But they're arguing over just this absolute shithead, like, apathetic character.
And the art style of the Rugrats. No less.
Like when he first gets informed that he's part of this holy war, he's like, go to the library and he's like, I need a Bible. And they're like, well, the Bible's already checked out. He goes, oh. And he goes, oh, you got showgirls? And then like 5 minutes later he goes, well, or like a few minutes later he's like, that's 10 minutes of my life I'm not getting back.
Christ. The devil looks like fucking it looks like Davis Arini if he had hair.
Oh.
God damn.
But that is an archetypical image, though.
I gotta go.
He has the eyes! The sinister eyes!
Okay, but let's be serious. Let's get serious.
Let's
He's gonna
serious.
complain about a Marvel movie.
Let's be serious. You have to deal with the spirit science people.
Yes, let's get back to SS.
We see particular aspects of the supreme creative power manifesting itself to guide humanity, such as how Thoth is the god of wisdom, or Krishna and Buddha were the embodiment of Vishnu, one part of the Trimurti. Jesus is believed to be the supreme ultimate power in totality manifested in the flesh. One way that this is often considered is through the opening of the book of John, which begins, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." Then, later in the same chapter, John writes, "The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth." This opening of the book of John may rightly be considered the genesis of the New Testament, since the opening lines are very similar to that of Genesis 1, which also describes how God created all things. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Let's consider that words are instruments in the creation.
Okay, that's actually good, because, I mean, Jesus is considered the next second Adam, so that works.
That makes sense. So far, so good.
Of our reality. One can easily see that without words, our thoughts would remain isolated in the mind, and more complex and intricate patterns of thought would not be possible. Without words, there would be no language, no books, no sharing of ideas. Not only Jesus...
Yeah, but on the
many
plus
folks-
side, though, without words, this video wouldn't be here.
Yeah, that is true.
You know, there's ups and downs to everything.
Mm-hmm. Trade-offs.
Philosophers, sages, ascended masters, and mystic teachings across history have expressed the absolute power that words have in the creation of our reality, and that through them we can create or destroy.
Well, they don't create
know what?
reality. They help us understand reality.
No,
You know
what they do
what's
is
frustrating about this? They're not even. It would be better if they were saying just some full-on heresy, but they're barely saying anything.
well, it gets far more interesting, because what they're basically asserting is that if you say there are more than 3 genders, that magically becomes true, right? If there's more than 4 genders or more 5 genders, whatever the fuck you might be, like, this is where we get into like actual like heresy and like spell casting and shit.
You
And
know,
what we
the
do-
whole thing with this gender thing
Yeah.
is what they're saying would be true if you just replace the word gender with personalities. Because that's what they're actually talking about, and they don't realize it. Like, well, you know, you could be a man and be kind of a somewhat effeminate. You could be
Yeah.
a woman and be a tomboy, and there's all sorts of spectrum of, yes, personalities, not genders.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, the reason they do it this way is because if, let's say, you have a more effeminate man, but he still likes girls, let's say, and then the gay guy's like, "Oh, well, you don't like me. You must be a different gender. You must be a different thing." It's like a retort, if you will. That's what it really is. It's a retort against, the homosexual advances, if that makes any sense.
Rather than having
And-
like diversity within a category, they're just making people into new categories.
Well, that's good. Then you can put the new label on your Tumblr page and feel special.
Yeah.
Yep.
But in principle,
How
you
Tumblrisms, that felt forever ago.
Ugh.
also have to understand there's a difference between the word and mere words. Whereas we use words to influence and understand our reality through definition, it is said that God used the word to create and define all creation. It is through this understanding
Oh, here's the parallels. God uses words to create reality. We use words to manipulate reality.
And as a result, my word is law, and therefore so it shall be written, so it shall be done. You will call me Shirley, and I get to wear a dress. That's what that is.
Do what thou wilt,
Fucking
we the whole of the
Gnosticism.
law.
Yep.
we identify the word as the vibration of creation itself, and this vibration was illuminating by its nature. And so while God saying "let there be light" is certainly a personification of the act of creation so that humans could comprehend it, the essential nature of sound and light being fundamental to the manifestation of reality is paramount. The word in the Greek tongue is called logos, and is a term which is also considered to be the origin of mediation between the visible and invisible within reality. So although the spoken word cannot be seen with the eyes, the results are observed and felt. So too, the Word of God paradoxically exists in both visible and invisible forms, being the vibratory expression of God which continually brings forth all of reality, and an expression of that which cannot be visibly seen, in what otherwise might be called the mind of God. Words could be seen as the mediator between the thoughts that we think and the actions that we take, but words can exist in a multitude of ways, including invisibly as thoughts within the mind, audibly spoken, or even written down, so as to last longer. Words are not...
I mean, words in written form are like almost like magic to ancient people, because there's nothing more puzzling than seeing a text addressed to everyone yet addressed to no one.
Yeah, it's like the equivalent of me giving you a pen letter and it says kill Beckloff, or like, and then like you don't, like, someone who's illiterate is like, well, I have a magical piece of parchment that says that kills people if I show it to the right person. That's sort of the idea behind it. That's where you get into like the law angle, where I could have like a warrant out for someone's arrest or whatnot. You know, like this is where we get into the deviant leftist mindset, where they could basically alter reality in any which way they want. Now, yes, again, you could very well say, "Hey, I have 6-packs. I worked out and I changed my life to get to that point." But don't tell me that your fucking penis is a vagina, just because your word is your word. That's what that is. You know, there's actual. Go on.
See, this is again they're kind of right.
Yeah, kind of.
Because yes, even biblically speaking, it says, you know, watch what you say because words have power, that sort of thing. I mean, I could say the phrase giraffe pimp, and now you're all thinking, you're imagining what that is. Like I put a ridiculous fucking thought directly in your head, like I was a telepath, just by making noises out of my mouth. That's impressive.
My name is a giraffe named Slickback.
Like you might be thinking of a giraffe with like the pimp hat and a cane or something.
Yeah.
Like
I was thinking,
again, now you are. Like,
I was thinking Jeffrey the giraffe with a fucking pimp hat on.
exactly. Like, and I did that to you. That's on one level, I shouldn't have that ability. It's kind of ridiculous.
It kind of is.
Just things
What?
that exist when
Like,
we
don't think about pink elephants. Okay.
That's different than me saying I could say giraffe pimp and magically manifest a giraffe pimp in the flesh. That would be a whole different level, and I can't do that. At least not that you can prove.
That's
Yeah.
maybe in the Plutonic plane of Plato's higher realms, it exists somewhere there.
Well, just like communism exists somewhere there, right?
Yeah. Although they tell me,
Communism exists in a Borg cube.
Yeah.
speak them, but are concepts and structures of thought that allow for the translation of energy and ideas from one dimension to another through us. To understand the logos better, let us know that the word itself is derivative.
Uh-oh.
of
Maybe
the
it is
word
David
for logic
Oh no.
Oh, Jesus.
or reason. Scripture suggests that it is the thing which pulls order out of chaos at the beginning of time and sets reality in motion. From this
You mean kind of like God?
No, more like Jordan Peterson. He's been listening way too much to Jordan Peterson. He's been listening to the Canadians one way or another. We know that much.
Was it E. Michael Jones who was really trying to hammer in logos in conversation?
Yes.
Well, no offense, Dashing, but leave it to a Catholic to find a way to talk about Jesus without actually mentioning him.
Yeah. No, yeah. You're right about that. There are a lot of people out there who will do that shit. And I think a lot of it's just fucking, academic snobbery. That's what I think it is.
By that logos logic, what's this?
perspective, the word or logos then is the transformative agent which sits at the center between order and chaos, which may even be associated with articulated truth.
So now the logos is the Witcher.
He gets to decide who is good and who is evil. He gets to decide, don't you know? He's the master that makes the grass green.
It's like a chaos emerald. You have 7 of them.
7 Loki.
May express our own ability to articulate that which we know, but from a God-level perspective, signifies the great power which sets forth the cosmic laws upon which reality exists in perfect order. We find this concept all the way down to our very DNA, where we find the syntactical structures of genes so logarithmically sound that we can read it like a book. That the logo sits at the boundary between the visible and invisible reality may also yield an understanding that it is in fact consciousness itself. One may surmise that experiences cannot be had without consciousness, as it is the light of awareness which shines upon our reality and makes them real. It is through
So we're all in God's brain.
We're a dream in Asatoff's. We're in Asatoff's dream, don't you know?
Oh boy.
So you're kind of giving this too much credit. They're not really saying anything.
They're not.
I know. But unfortunately, I'm trying to figure it out.
You can project most of what they've said. You could actually twist into not being heresy.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out St. Huger's book right now, so I like to like to use reason. I like to think.
I don't know why you're reading a book about fucking horses, Luke. I mean, I assume that's what he'd write about.
through our consciousness that thoughts become words.
Either that or
and
killing
words
the
which we
Turks.
hear
They're killing the Armenians. I mean,
are understood in the mind. By that logic, consciousness seems to be necessary for reality to exist. For without consciousness, there would be no sense of time, space, or orientation wherein the matrix of reality could be explored. It may be said that the Logos is necessary for existence because it gives structure to the absolute chaos of reality and makes way for self-awareness and comprehension. This is an amazing idea because it gives consciousness a constitutive role in the creation of reality. Therein, we may even wish to identify God, and thus consciousness, to be the equal sign between the E and the mc squared in Einstein's legendary formula, which demonstrated that all matter and energy were equal to each other and could even cross the boundaries from one form to the other.
God is an equal sign?
God, well, Jesus is the final answer,
Uh-huh.
and the equal sign is after.
Mm-hmm.
But
Just
we
saying.
should not jump to conclusions regarding the association of God with consciousness itself, because God is also considered completely indescribable and beyond what we can know. But all of this probably makes sense until we bring the person of Jesus into the equation. As a general concept, the Logos idea makes sense. But then how could Jesus be this Word of God? How could one person be the embodiment of this vibration of creation, if the vibration of creation permeates into all things? Well, the belief is that the supreme cosmic power would communicate with its creations best through direct contact with them, and by living among them and guiding them personally. Certainly, one might presume that God would use all means available to connect with humans.
And he did. The Old Testament is illustrative of that.
What was that?
And he did. He had manifested in different ways. A burning bush, the hidden place. He manifested in all these different ways, and Jesus was the final appearance.
He was the final appearance, well, the second to last, let's say. He'll come back on Revelation.
Oh, of course.
Whether through dreams, strokes of insight, or our very contemplations of the movements of the heavens. But reality is so intricate. And if it was so easy to really understand everything in existence, surely we would all be enlightened by now. Wouldn't it make sense that the Supreme Spirit would also embody itself within flesh, so as to be the most directly relatable in a tangible way? And if we too are, as the Bible states, made in the image of God, could it not be then that the coming of Christ was a means to show us a way into awakening to our own divine nature too?
That's kind of a leap.
That's where we get into Gnosticism. That's where we start getting the idea that you are God and a bunch of other shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then again, John's words about the Word becoming flesh can be interpreted in one other, rather significant way.
Uh-oh.
But that's a much larger exposition that we'll have to save to explore later. Nevertheless, if all of this is true, we must consider what Christ meant when he said, "Whoever believes in me will also do the works that I am doing. He will do even greater things than these." Jesus was a man who became known not only for his profound wisdom and undying love, but also many miracles that he performed. Could it be that one who is illuminated to such a degree could do the very same as he did? This is often given as...
Please mention his crucifixion somewhere, please.
No, they won't talk about that because the message is more important than the actual of dying on the cross for your sins.
They do show that eventually, right?
I don't know. This is the first part of a series of many.
Okay.
as a reason for why faith or belief in Jesus is a good thing, even if we lack the material evidence before our eyes. Because if not him, then how us? His works, compassion, service, and ultimate sacrifice demonstrated to humanity what it means to come in service to
Why
all,
do I get this
and in
feeling that he's queer? Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I'm not trying to bash Christ here, but I look at this gay for there's something. It's a gay version of Christ. I'm sorry. He looks gay as fuck. I'm not even joking.
Well, it's a plushy version of Jesus.
It's the plushy. I'd rather have a plushy. I don't know. Plushy Jesus sounds
divine
cool.
qualities that we are all intrinsically imbued with. And so when Jesus said that those who believe in him will become like him, he's saying that by believing in God's love.
Wait, when did Jesus say that?
What did he say exactly?
He said
He'll become
And so
like
when
us.
Jesus said that those who believe in him will become like him, he
become like him.
I mean, kinda, depending on how you interpret that.
Like adopted into the son, into the divine family, like resurrected with him, or like,
she'll never. Whoever believes in me shall have eternal life. Is that
A
what he's talking
definition
about?
of sanctification is becoming more Christ-like.
right? Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
again, this person is saying stuff in a way that you could generously interpret as Christian, which is kind of really sneaky.
Yeah,
That's what I mean. They're not like I would much prefer if because they're trying to butter you up. That's kind of like what I think. Like, no, just say what you think, and
Let your yes be yes and your no be no.
But Beckloff, have you seen any of those James Lindsay videos I sent you?
have I seen what? I probably not.
Yeah, that thing you're complaining about is what all Gnostics do. They're trying to give a little bit of truth or say things the right way in order to put in another lie.
went through a phase as a teenager well before becoming a Christian where I just wanted to learn about any and every religion I possibly could, up to, long abandoned and dead pagan mythology. And I tried to like read some books on Gnostic Christianity, and I'm like, this is just saying nothing.
Yeah.
This is just a bunch of bullshit. Like, I couldn't even. I want to say I couldn't follow what they were saying in half those books, but it was more like there was nothing to follow. It was like trying to follow the plot of a badly written movie, where it's like, okay, you're if you're not trying, why should I?
He's saying that by believing in God's love, we will naturally begin to think, feel, and act according to that love. Compassion, forgiveness, generosity. These are a
Like,
few
yes,
of the
that's
foundational
true.
Yes, yes.
Yep. I agree.
principles to living and co-creating a life with the intrinsic divinity that is our birthright. And does this not sound like a path to salvation? But wait a second. On that note, this last statement probably requires some more attention. Why do we need salvation at all? People say that he died for our sins, but what does that even mean? Especially since humanity today is, well, still pretty sinful. And actually, what even is sin anyways? Well, stay tuned, because that's where we're going to go next.
Okay, so they're not ignoring his sacrifice. They're just don't put it on screen.
They're saving it for part 2 because they're going to stress this shit out, and we will be following this, ladies and gentlemen, because Spirit Science is one of those people, one of those YouTubers that honestly, like, he actually said that, again, he said the Jews came to Earth to help humans with civilization. He said that he literally claimed they were aliens.
Yes.
He claimed the Jews were aliens. And that, like,
Yeah,
that's...
they had a book called The Rules of Acquisition.
Oh. God damn, Ferengi.
Well, it's probably a compliment, though, because, I mean, the Ferengi are pretty efficient people.
Indeed they are. Indeed they fucking are. So, here's one for you. Alright, so the F-16 finally got into the Ukraine. Or to Ukraine, I should say. It's not the Ukraine. Just like it's not the Borderlands. Although it's becoming like the Borderlands. Except Vladov is still fucking, moving their shit. Hey, Beklov is back. He got the Bulbasaur back.
Didn't you hear? We moved on to a new war.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. That's exactly what one of the things that's happened. Speaking of, Luke, actually, I think I said it to you before. Apparently, there was a 23andMe data leak. I don't know if you know about this, Luke.
23... Oh, yeah. I did hear about this.
Do you know who they targeted?
Who they target?
The Jews.
What?
They targeted the Jews.
What do you mean they targeted the Jews?
I sent you a link. The first link is the F-16. The second link is 23andMe just got hacked from Mudahar. Here you go.
So which one should I open?
Mudahar.
Hello, guys and gals, me Mudahar, and do you know of a company called 23andMe? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you ever wanted to
When
get your
Nats and
genetic
Zionists
testing?
are on suicide watch, because if let me just say this, are Italians white? Northerns are, Southerns, mileage may vary, but even then, there's mixture that happens everywhere you go. Okay, like our Turkish fucking European, is Cenk Uygur European? That's the real question you gotta ask.
Mediterranean might not be Europe. Which tradition? I guess it depends on where his ancestors were.
Yeah, exactly. Right, and you could definitely say he's an Aryan because he's an Indo-Aryan. Right?
Oh, sure, why not?
Just claim him.
He's an equestrian. Is what he is.
He's an equestrian. That's what he is.
Boy, I wonder what slurs I can drop. God damn. Ladies and gentlemen, I've never done genetic testing on the internet simply because it would always come back 102% South Asian or Indian with a 2% margin of error. But for anybody that doesn't know, 23andMe is a publicly held personal genomics and biotechnology company based in South San Francisco, California, where all tech companies hail from. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one of the founders is Ann Wojcicki, who serves as the CEO for it. And you might be wondering, whoa, that name sounds familiar. Yeah, she is the sister to former CEO of YouTube. I believe she formerly...
What a coincidence.
What a coincidence, Luke.
Who's actually doing this? Who was, especially like people on the right, where you're supposed to be like, conspiracy-minded people on the distant right, and you're like, I'll just send my fucking genetic code to a shady corporation.
He was married to Sergey Brin, one of the founders of Google and Alphabet, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, one of the largest data-hungry tech companies in the world. Yeah, they have a relationship to 23andMe, the company literally known for cataloging your DNA. Now, again, these are.
By the way, there's a 23andMe for your dog now.
Oh my god.
Oh, what is it called? Embark. You can find out your dog's like. I don't care about my great-great-grandmother, let alone my dog's.
You might want to do it just so you can say your dog is like descended from Lassie from like 4 or 5 generations or something like that.
If he was still around, I might, out of curiosity, have done it to my dad's one dog he had that was supposedly a purebred King Cavalier, but I swear that thing had a little Chihuahua in it. Because it was very skinny, it had kind of bug eyes, it had that nervous energy temperament that they have. I always looked at it like, man, there's like a 8th Chihuahua in this thing.
The neurosis of the Chihuahua is bred into your fucking poor dog.
So let me say, I might have tested him just out of curiosity. But like people are like, I want to genetically test myself. Who cares?
Well,
There's some wignat that want to make sure you don't have any fucking black guy in your. First of all, by the way, most white people in North America have Indian in them.
Yep.
Like Native American, I mean, not red dot. Like, and almost all the blacks do, if they've been here for any length of time. But yeah, you get everybody. I'm 1/32nd because some great-great-grandfather bought a wife off some Indian chief to settle a debt.
That's assuming that
that happened a lot.
Yeah.
No, that happened a lot. Like, oh, I owe you I owe you $50 here. Have one of my daughters.
Yep.
The internet, that doesn't necessarily mean a hard and fast that information is being shared, but I'm a paranoid person on the internet, okay? Anytime I see a connection like this, that alone is what draws me away from using any of this, okay? Now, you can't live in a perfectly private world ever, okay? You can't. It's impossible, all right? Every time you're giving up some data, your name is running through some servers out in the world. So you can always try your level best, okay? Just because we live in a world of no privacy doesn't mean you have to hand your information on a silver platter to every Tom, Dick, and Harry on the streets. You don't have to give your information to 23andMe. But let's go to their website, okay? 23andMe tracks your health and everything, and the way that it does that is you basically sign up for their Ancestry service, or you just figure out what you are, okay? So their Ancestry service helps track down your genetic code across 2,500 geographic regions. They give you 30
this can't be used to genocide somebody. Right? This can't be used to say you have, let's say, a little bit of Jewish blood in you or a little bit of Palestinian blood in you, and now we can hunt you down to the ends of the earth.
Didn't the Chinese actually try to do this to make a weapon that only attacked non-Chinese people?
What, the anti-Sinyo bioweapon?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't actually know.
I would be shocked if they were the only country that did. You know the crazy shit that our military has admitted to working on?
True.
If that's what they're admitting, like, yeah, we tried to make a bomb that would turn everybody gay. We tried to make an EMP bomb that would just fry everyone's brains.
We tried to make a heart attack killing gun. Or heart attack
that one they have. And I'm starting to lean towards maybe they have the space lasers. A lot of suspicious forest fires. not 100% on that, but it's like Michelle Obama being a dude, where it's like I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either. I really do think I do buy into the Michael Obama thing. I do buy into that
Big
concept.
Mike.
Big Mike. Biggie Mike.
Family tree, by the way, because yes, your genome is shared between your family. I can say that my uncle ain't my uncle, but as soon as you sample our DNA, yeah, it'll come out that we're uncle nephew. All right, that's how it works. So you pay $299 and they send a kit to your house, and I used to think it was like piss or something like that, but you genuinely just give them a piece of your saliva, sends on over to their site, their genetic researchers, dig your sample, process it, and then you can download your quirky little information off the internet. So this is actually useful for some people, like in the genetic lottery we call life, okay, the roguelike we're playing. Sometimes people are born with buffs, and sometimes they're born with debuffs. Debuffs like getting type 2 diabetes. Some people are more susceptible to it, and that's where 23andMe comes in. And then of course you might be wondering, God damn, what can I say and what can't I say? It gives you basically where your ancestry is from. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what it is, okay? So why am I getting all into 23andMe and detailing to you how much data they have on each person? Well, because they just got an actual hack, ladies and gentlemen. God damn. Genetics firm 23andMe says user data was stolen in a credential stuffing attack. Ooh. Now,
Yeah, you should keep your information off the web.
Yeah, especially since you could change your password, you could reassign a multi-factor authentication device, but you cannot change the skin that you're in. You literally can't change. A leopard cannot change its spots, and you cannot change your DNA. So if it's out there, and it could be weaponized in some way, like let's say for instance what's going on in Israel right now with Hamas doing shit. They can easily buy this information that's been hacked and then go out and have a kill list for all the Israelis and all the Jews in Hollywood and all. Like, I'm not kidding when I say this shit is like, you're an idiot if you gave out your data to this. Like, there are people out there who are.
It's not just that. Like every government already has this data. Like none of these sites are even allowed, barely in the United States, and certainly nowhere else, to even function without letting these governments have a backdoor. Like they already have it. They just absolutely do. Like if you signed up for 23andMe and you're a suspect in a murder or something like that, they're not gonna bother even DNA testing. You're like, oh yeah, that shit's on file. Don't worry. Your DNA matched to this stuff. Like it's already there. They're not. If everything you've done online, and this is so frightening for these fucking kids that grew up on it. I was a teenager when I got the internet. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
And even then, it barely existed. It was AOL shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But these kids are raised on it and all. It's like everything you've ever donated to, every time you've ever, if you've ever paid for porn, it's certainly on there, and probably every time you've searched it for free, all that shit is categorized. All of that shit. The whole reason there is an NSA isn't to prevent crimes or stop a terrorist attack. It's just to make a file on every single fucking person, so that the next time you're too much of a problem, well, maybe we publicly talk about how that kid of yours ain't really that kid, ain't really your kid.
Yep.
Maybe you didn't even know, but now you know. Maybe we'll talk about all the midget porn you jacked off to. Like, whatever we can do to embarrass you or fuck with you or neutralize you, we got this fucking file.
Yep. And that's why, again, being anonymous is the best thing you could be. Like I've shown my face a couple times, but it's out there, but I don't advertise it. I keep it to myself, and I don't like the people like Sargon and the rest of them who want to have fame and glory. Well, they're getting their fame, and they're gonna get their glory. But
if you have a kid, and don't first of all, don't let them have a smartphone. Not till they're a teenager. At least give them a flip phone. I understand these days, that you don't even have a house phone. When I was a kid, if I wanted to call my friend to see if I could come over, I called their house phone. So I understand it doesn't exist anymore. I guess you got to give a kid a flip phone, but that's it. Don't give them a smartphone until they're well into high school. If you have internet access, and you probably should, but a computer in the common room, that kind of shit. Like these parents are just, I'll just give your kid a smartphone. It's like,
no, don't do that. Don't do
people
that.
talk about porn addiction. I'm like, that's the least of your worries. I got news for you. The social media is gonna fuck up a 10-year-old's brain even worse than the porn.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at the Tide Pod challenges. Look at the fucking what was it? The fucking spice or cinnamon challenge where they have to eat a bunch of cinnamon, which is near impossible to do because it's so fucking damn dry, right?
I mean, we have a generation out there that thinks Logan Paul is funny. Okay, this is brain rotted. I'm joking about that a little bit, but have you talked to somebody born after 1993?
No, I haven't. Well, I
oh
haven't,
my god!
But go on.
It's disgusting. Most of these Zoomers, and Gen Alpha is going to be even worse. They're retarded. They're all queers, and I don't even mean in the literal sense. I mean, they're just fruits. It's horrendous, and it's because these kids are just raised on a fucking Black Mirror their whole lives.
Oh, like what was that TikTok video we shared dashing about how kids just can't process information? They can't even recite what's been told directly to them.
Oh yeah, actually, let me pull that one up if I have it still.
There was a college professor, and I can't remember exactly what this article was. Otherwise, I'd cite it, but whatever. They were talked about like they were doing a history class, and one of the questions on the finals they do is like write a little alt history essay. You know what I mean? Like, what if the South won the Civil War? What if, America never got its independence? That kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And or the other possibility was just some dry, bullshit. And he said he did that because it's like it was a very dry class, and I figured, give him kind of a fun question at the end. And he talked about how in recent years, in particular, less and less people take that question. And he talked about like kids don't have any fucking imagination. I mean, you talk about these people out there that can't, rotate an apple in their brain. All they have is stimulus. Like when I was a kid, yeah, I watched TV and I played video games probably more than I should, but I had like action figures I played with, or I went outside and wandered in the woods and sometimes wandered in construction sites and probably fucked the place up. Because as a kid, I was out getting in trouble, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but they don't do that. They're just trapped in a room all day with a black mirror. And it's just constant stimulus without ever being bored or just having to entertain yourself.
Relaxing with your thoughts, without external stimuli.
Oh, this is interesting. I found it 7 years ago. There was this ABC News article, a video about secret preteens keep on their phones. So apparently, the kids who take their phones away and use their phones without their parents knowing.
Jeez.
Well, that's
They're always going to sneak stuff.
Yeah, but that's different than just giving a kid a phone.
even in pre-internet days, I managed to find some porn before I was of legal age to look at porn. But it was something I knew I wasn't supposed to do, and I was sneaking it, and I had to earn it. You know what I mean? I didn't develop a deep porno addiction by the time I was 15.
Yeah. Well, again, the biggest issue has been, when it comes to porn, is it's basically just the amount of data that hits you, as opposed to like having access to it all the time. It's just the sheer amount of how much it gets you. That's the issue.
Yeah,
these kids don't get in some ways they don't get into trouble either. Like, I mean in the sense that, again, they're just stuck in their house all day in front of a black mirror. Like,
back in the day, there was actually this theory that too much pornography exposure would make children more inclined to be rapists or violent sexual predators, and that didn't happen. The problem is it kind of turned them into like people who don't do anything. They don't have sex. They don't even try to have sex.
Like when I would stumble onto a porn in my young teenage, middle school, early high school years, I'd look at it and be like, "Holy crap, that's awesome! I'm gonna find a girl and do that."
Yeah.
And eventually, I did. And something about Gen Z and Gen Alpha, it's like I guess, holy crap, I'm gonna masturbate to a VTuber and pay PayPal her money with my mom's credit card. Like,
it would probably be healthier for these kids to go to a strip club, honestly.
Yeah, it would. It would be much healthier. It'd be much more interesting because at least that way you get to know where all the freaking all the philosophy majors go.
And you know what? I'm gonna say it. I don't even think it's the porn that's fucking up some of these Zoomers. I think it's the fucking anime.
The anime?
I think they've consumed these fucking Japanese cartoons to the point of becoming autistic.
I feel like I should disagree, but I can't think of an argument.
No, and I'm not. I know I don't like it, and I have my own autistic nerd things and all, but it's like, for one thing, I love cape shit, but that's not all I was about. You know what I mean? But like the weebs, holy shit, man. It's just nothing but the fucking Chinese cartoons with them. And you know what? And anecdotal evidence here, I have been to dozens of Comic Cons, both as a vendor and a customer. I have been to several retro video game cons as a customer. I did an anime con one time as a vendor. There were more smelly, unshowered motherfuckers with serial killer eyes there than every other con I attended put together. I was uncomfortable by the end of it. I could not wait to get out of there.
bullshit. I can attest to that. I've seen some crazy shit in fucking Magic the Gathering tournaments that like legitimately they stink. Anyhow, keep going. Let's.
Now, this is something I've been following for a bit, and you might be wondering, why are you always a day or two late? It's because the story needs time to ferment, okay? That's just what it is.
I agree. We should always do that.
Yep.
Usually with a story like this, I try to catch every side, I try to understand everything, before I just shoot my load, okay? It is what it is. Now, a couple days ago, alright, October 4th, they actually said, following the claim that someone gained access to and is selling certain 23andMe customer data, we conducted an investigation. We have not identified any unauthorized access to our system. We will continue to monitor the situation. That was literally 2 days before one of their spokespersons straight up had to say, yeah, we got hacked, it's legitimate.
Oh yeah, that's why I wanted to come and comment, because tech elites who actually work on the social media, they don't let their kids use their phones. They never let their kids use phones.
Yeah, they don't let, exactly. Like, you wonder why they don't let you do it? Well, the reason why they don't let you do it is simply put, because they understand that it rewires your brain. Instead of, getting the information and actually having the processing power to say, okay, I look up, let's say, how to spell something in the dictionary. I instead use Google and I type it in and it comes up for me. It's laziness. It increases laziness, so to speak.
Oh man, when I was a kid, we had this giant blue dictionary. This thing was like probably a good 8 inches thick. Like that year's official Oxford dictionary, every word that existed in '89 or whatever when this thing was printed. And my dad would he at times be like, "Go get the blue book and look it up."
Yeah, my dad did the same thing.
Now, to understand, I traced down where this actual hack was because I feel like trying to get to the source of the truth is what matters to me, okay? So, one of the posts over here from one of the hacker websites, I'm not going to be naming names here, actually sheds even more light. October 2nd, they had a post of DNA data of celebrities. 1 million Ashkenazi reposts. For those of you who don't know what Ashkenazi means, Ashkenazi refers to Jewish people, alright? Ashkenazi Jews is what they're known as, alright? So, there was a bit of Semitic interest in this entire thing. Not only was this posted here, but it was also reposted on Poll, which is probably one of the filthiest containment boards on the internet, so you can imagine what the target here was.
Oh, it's from Germany as well. Apparently the Germans are still posting their shit.
Back in the 30s, things was not good. But anyways, I've got an entire re-upload of 1 million users, focusing mostly on the Ashkenazi trade over here, too. Now, for me, I actually ended up tracing this source down and downloading it myself. And this is where things get a little bit wild. So, inside over here, I'm going to blur a lot of this out because it does contain really personal information. What I'm not going to blur out specifically are like at least 5 early entries, or at least the ones that are most important to deciphering if a lot of these leaks are fake or real. Because here's the thing, when it comes to a leak and data sets like this being handed out, every journalist almost jumps on board and believes this shit. But you have to actually know what you're looking for in these sources, and you have to look for telltale signs. So for instance, one of the first names that you find over here are Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and Sergey Brin. These are three of the most powerful technological individuals on the internet, in the world even. Elon Musk, for instance, they've got their first last name, not uncommon knowledge. Their sex, not uncommon. Their birth year, also not uncommon. You can dig that shit up on Wikipedia. However, what's interesting is Elon Musk and Sergey Brin share the same first 5 digits, and again, the reason I'm blurring the rest out is because it could be personal information. Okay, so editing Muda here right now, and one thing that I wanted to also look into were the birth years. If you look after the first 4, it seems like everybody else getting 23andMe is like a 1-year-old to maybe 5 years old, which is another...
Wait, Musk and Zuckerberg used 23andMe?
Yep. And here's the thing. Allegedly, they used 23andMe. We don't actually know if they did or not. Uh-huh. And so people are saying this data is faked. That, okay, Wojcicki, she's Polish, whatever, right? Sergey Brin, he's probably Russian, right? Whatever. Zuckerberg, okay, that makes sense. Fucking Elon Musk, he's South African, dude. He's probably has more Dutch in him, if anything.
But apparently Brin and Musk have the same first 5 digits.
And that's where people are saying that this is bullshit, that this information that is out there has been manufactured. To what degree? Who knows? Maybe just for scholastic terrorism, stochastic terrorism, I think it's called.
I think it's stochastic. Is that the word?
Yeah, stochastic terrorism. Where you start saying, "Go on, get the little pricks." That's what this is all about. That's what I think it is. So,
the giveaway to this data set might in fact just be complete and utter horse crap. So again, you got to watch out for these things. What goddamn toddler is getting 23andMe? That doesn't even make.
Oh, so it's a fake story?
Well, they're saying that they got 23andMe done specifically when they were like 3 years old or 1 year old, right? So that makes no sense either, because this data only exists and they've had it since when? right? They've had it since fucking what 1984 for Zuckerberg, 1974 for Sergey Brin. Which even then, like Sergey, if he really was like from Soviet Russia or someplace like that or Com Block, they don't have his DNA, and if they did, they're not sharing with America. You know? Yeah.
Make any goddamn sense. Yeah, they share the same account ID for some reason, so just right off the bat, when you see shit like that, it makes you question if the leak is actually real, which is wild because 23andMe confirmed some information got leaked out, but over here we're seeing some pretty massive discrepancies. How can two different people share the same account and profile ID? Are Elon Musk and Sergey Brin the same person? Most definitely not, okay, ladies and gentlemen? But of course they've got focuses on things like Y-DNA and DNA, which I assume this is like a genetic marker or genetic data that's being handed out, and of course the rest of the information is where I assume they live or where the testing was initially done. So, obviously places like California, places like, Germany, so on and so forth. That's pretty much the data set, okay? So is there things like usernames, passwords, addresses?
Here's the issue. There's no way to verify any of this stuff. There's no way for us to actually verify if Elon Musk is actually, South African, besides, his papers, right? There's no way to know if Zuckerberg is Ashkenazi Jewish or if he's, more Sephardic Jewish. There's no way you can know. Short of, I guess he left already. I'm sorry, Beckloff. It's all good. Apparently, there's no way you could tell. There's no way you would be able to know. So because there's no way to know, and because what's going on in fucking Israel right now, I wouldn't be surprised if this stuff is just out there specifically to fearmonger. They won't tell you what they stole. They'll put this out there as a proposed actual data set, and it's not. There's a lot of discrepancies in it, and I think there are a lot of people out there who legitimately will just accept it, who lie and sinker, and those people are dangerous. Those are the people who okay, let's go kill the evil bastards. Okay, here's a list of all the evil bastards. Don't look too deep into it. It's deception. It's manipulation. That's what's going on here.
Okay.
But going back to what you said, Luke, here's the link to that Twitter profile of how the idiot kids don't know shit, right?
Yes, let's see.
It would benefit you to watch his entire video because he breaks it down about how, and that's the kids that are doing well. Because I also teach 7th grade, and we have kids that have math grade level equivalents of 1st and 2nd grade, 3rd grade, many at 4th grade, very few at grade level, very few, if any, in some classes. These kids can't read, they can't decode, they have no vocabulary, no background knowledge. I've never seen anything like it. For context, for 8 years, I taught a self-contained program for significant language-based learning disabilities. It was the most restrictive environment. It was the step before being sent to a specialized school. And my 5th graders with significant language-based learning disabilities could write better than non-disabled 7th graders can now.
Yep.
They can't write a sentence.
You know what this reminds me of now?
What?
Let's see if I can get this on the screen here.
So, what are you in for? I moved here from Canada, and they think I'm slow, eh? I fell off the jungle gym, and when I woke up, I was in here. I start fires.
Okay, now everyone take out your safety pencil and a circle of paper. This week, I hope we can finish our work on the letter A.
Let me get this straight. We're behind the rest of our class, and we're going to catch up to them by going slower than they are. Cuckoo, cuckoo.
These class of kids are probably more connectedly active than the kids we're talking about in real life. That's sad.
Yeah, well, here's the thing about being an autist, if you will, in that system. We were segregated away from everybody else, so that's the benefit, but also the fact, the curse was that we were separated from everybody else. So we didn't all become Marxists, right? And that's because we didn't get to have the benefit of the good news, the gospel according to Marx and Engels, right? So we didn't get screwed over. We didn't get, indoctrinated. We were safe from that shit, But a lot of these other kids, they get fucking the mainstream ones. They're the ones they want to fuck over. The kids like the autists, they don't care. They don't care about them at all. Yeah, keep going, Luke.
Where were we again? 2020 me or somewhere else?
Well, let's see. I have a few other things to talk about. Had to bounce, guys. Have a good show. Good night. Yeah. All right, man. What else we got here? So, all right, let's go with
Survive Ukraine from Canon F-16 or something else.
Let's we'll save all the Ukraine. Here's something that I wanted to pull up here. 4chan doesn't understand cyberpunk is a dystopia.
Oh.
It doesn't think it.
Huh.
I
So
love this question. It's thought provoking. So how is cyberpunk supposed to be dystopia? Because even your average third world gangster has access to better and faster healthcare than anyone who's currently alive. And the meth junkies have better education and technical prowess than most modern engineers.
No, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's like the equivalent of saying because you know how to set up your own internet proxy server so you can get access to, MySpace back in the day. That's what I used to do. I actually set up proxy servers on the systems on the computers at my school system, right? Set them up that way I could access the internet and unrestricted. We didn't have access to like iPhones and shit like that at the time. All we had was like the Motorola Razor, and that was the thing. But those, just because they have access to high technology doesn't mean that it's not cyberpunk. The meth junkies and the heroin addicts and the brain dance people, again, they are controlled. For the sake of the easiest way to separate cyberpunk from, let's say, something that's high tech is the low lifestyle. These people are the bitches of the government. They're the bitches of the corporation. And, you can't opt out. So let's say you don't want to be totally organic, right? You don't want to have any freaking eye implants or, augmenting your arms and stuff. You don't get to do it because it's the way of the world. It's like the equivalent of saying everyone's vaccinated. Now you have to get vaccinated as well. And I'm not going to let you decide what that is. But let's just say that that's sort of the same type of mentality. He's vaxxed, so I have to be vaxxed. That's how this works. Keep playing it.
Even if you're a low-income individual, illness no such thing, and you do have the right to bear arms. So he wants to explain how CP77 isn't a utopia without using phrases like corporations are bad. I just want to point out that cyberpunk is not a critique to capitalism, but it's a critique to corporatism. So you have like corporations that are going to war with each other, corporations colonizing entire places. So it's more like a criticism, I guess, with the East India Trading Company, if you will. But okay, see, the difference between cyberpunk and other universes, I don't know if it's like truly a dystopia in the way that Warhammer 40k is. Like in Warhammer 40k, it's very difficult to look at.
No, it's a dystopia. It's a dystopia. It's a dystopia compared to where we're at right now. That's
technically, it's like a chaotic universe of evil demonic forces and gods.
Okay, explain.
Well, I mean, aren't there certain? I mean, isn't it kind of like a world of chaos where the god emperor is trying to bring order to it?
Oh, you're talking about 40k.
Yeah.
It is like a it would be like if we actually had like demons and devils and angels actively fucking with people throughout the Middle Ages, right? And actually like manifesting in the real world, leaving their telltale marks and whatnot on society and whatnot, like actual scientific data. The demons and angels were real. And we found this out during the Middle Ages. That's what it would be like. It would be dystopian in that regard. Here's the issue, though. 40k is a grimdark. It's like Conan the Barbarian almost, right? Cyberpunk is more of I just have to get. It's people getting by. Look at the fucking Neuromancer, right? Neuromancer is about a guy who literally can't go online anymore because they destroyed his synapses or what have you, so he couldn't access the internet anymore, and as a result he basically got screwed over and he couldn't he was on death's door for all intents and purposes, and then they give him a chance. And part of what's defined cyberpunk is the ability to mold man with machine, to treat people like they're just numbers. Right? They're just numbers, and if you have enough information, you can come up with an idea of how someone should act, or how someone is going to act. Game theory and data collection and stuff like that. The idea that you basically there's no individuality anymore, right? That's actually what cyberpunk's all about. I mean, most of these people are basically putting into their bodies technology that has back doors in it. I mean, like, I would never cut out my eyes and have cybernetic eyes.
Yeah,
why would you ever want that?
And in the cartoon show, the main character basically has his spine replaced with a high version spine, so he can actually do a lot of amazing stunts, which of course is going to cause his brain to explode.
Well, it wasn't going to cause his brain to explode. The whole reason why he lost his mind was because he became more and more machine. And there is a mechanic in the game where the more and more machine-like you become, the more chromed out you become, the less human you are. You become more mechanical in the mindset. You become more methodical, where you're like, oh, you're just a meat machine. You're just a fuckable piece of meat. That's all you are. That's sort of the idea behind it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But, again, there are people who just don't know how good we have it and how bad they have it. Imagine a world, if you will, where your data is being sold all the time. That's the world we're in right now. We're in a very cyberpunk dystopia right now, if you will. Anyhow, let's go on to something else, Luke. I just wanted to bring that up here because I like V, and V was very correct about some of his pushbacks against his stuff. Let's see what else we got here. Let's talk about the F-16.
Let's see. F-16 fighter. Okay.
The United States of America recently confirmed they're going to allow the delivery of F-16 fighter jets from Denmark and the Netherlands to the Ukrainian Air Force, ending months of...
Oh, that's a good idea.
It is, but here's the thing. My main concern why I didn't want this originally to be sent out is because if we send out the F-16 by itself, it's just a glorified MiG without any of the computer countermeasures and whatnot, like the information and the technology that comes with it. It's just a glorified MiG.
So why is that a problem?
Well, if we give the technology to the Ukrainians, if it gets captured, it could also be used to open up the battle net and expose ourselves to hacking and whatnot.
Wait, why are we doing this?
We're not doing it. That was my main concern when it came to the F-16, is that if we gave people the computer equipment along with the F-16 chassis, apparently we're not giving them that. We're not giving them our radio equipment. They're going to have to use their own. Now, here's the problem. If they get access to the F-16, if they don't have, let's say that they have to, advance very, very quickly to get compatible technology set up specifically so they know they can integrate it with their F-16, it could cost them a lot. It could cost them time that they don't have, especially manpower, and they're fighting a war, right? So can they really benefit from the F-16? Yes, they can benefit, but it's going to take time for them to actually get the better use out of it. They have to unlock. They have to actually go through the firearm progression, if you will, the tree, if you will. They have shitty fucking equipment right now, but as they go and as they start, building it up their arsenal, the F-16 becomes more and more useful to them. Now keep going. Yeah.
Will they, won't they? Speculation and just downright teasing. So news agencies around the world are going bonkers with predictions about how these F-16s will either turn the tide of the war in Ukraine, or they're not going to make a difference at all. So in this video, hopefully we can try to untangle some of that confusion. The F-16 is a multi-role 4th-generation fighter jet that's formed the backbone of Western air forces since the 1980s, with 4,600 aircraft produced and 2,100 in use by 20 different countries. The F-16 is the most widely operated fighter in the entire world. Along with donations of jets from other NATO allies, Ukraine will start to receive dozens of F-16s by the end of 2023, with many more to come in 2024. The West has held off on delivering Western aircraft to Ukraine for 2 reasons. First, there were potential fears that Russia would view the transfer as a serious escalation, leading to retaliation against the United States. And second, there were some U.S. officials that believe learning to fly and logistically support the technologically advanced F-16 might be more difficult and time-consuming than it was actually worth. Exact numbers are difficult to come by, but it appears that Denmark will send 6 F...
That's where I'm at right now, Luke. I believe that, one of the objections, again, I talked about how the majority of the stuff we're giving the Ukrainians is actually stuff, right? Well, there's certain things we can't give them because of one, it's training, and training costs time as well, right? And at the same time, there's trade secrets in there that could very well, like, if I told you, I'd have to kill you type of stuff. That's what we're dealing with.
I love this old video by Bill Whittle, who talks about like the revolution in the American air fighting world, and it talks about the creation of the F-15 and how very powerful it is.
Destroying enemy armor and doing close air support than any aircraft in the world. The F-15 Eagle is an air superiority fighter, and it doesn't have a Vietnam-era kill ratio of 2-to-1 or even 7-to-1. It doesn't have the F-86's Korean War ratio of 12-to-1. As I write this, the F-15 has a record of 104 kills to 0 losses. It's about 100 to nothing.
But yeah, the F-16, that might be different, though.
The F-16, again, the F-16 is what I grew up with. And now they're talking about the F-35, which again, apparently we're giving everyone else access to that. We're basically giving our hand-me-downs again. That's what we're doing with Ukraine. We're giving them our hand-me-downs. So all the Cold War equipment we have, we're giving it them.
But they're still. The thing is, those jets are better than virtually anything else that has come into existence because the Pentagon is just wasting money on giant lead sleds.
Yep.
F-16s this year, and from what I could dig up, it looks like they'll eventually send a total of 19.
I think this has a good quote in here, too.
F-16s and A-10s, not only in the U.S. inventory, but in all of our allies' inventory as well. And it can't turn. And we're assured that its inability to outturn a 35-year-old fighter is not the problem with this $1,000 billion airplane. Meanwhile, the Defense Department is in 2015. Now, Pierre Sprey, a very harsh critic of the F-35, said that the F-35 is performing its mission better than any other aircraft in history because the mission of the F-35 is to spend money.
Yeah, it is. And at the same time, it's to perfect it. Because here's the thing. If we don't build it, someone else will. And at the same time, you know, I hate to be the guy who says this, but we're going to build, like, the natural order of things is to build a better sword constantly. Whether it be, you know, you go from bronze to iron or copper, let's say, and then you get into steel, you get folded steel. The world is always going to need people who have the bigger stick. And it's better that we have the bigger stick. And we've had, historically, the bigger sticks. But the issue, and again, going back to the F-16 video, is I was concerned that giving them access to these radio equipment would have compromised American airspace and compromised American lives, not just Ukrainian. But it also could have opened us up to a whole fucking invasion. Because if they have a way of you know, showing that, it would show more about us than it would about them if we gave them our radio equipment. Yeah. Anyhow, keep going. Let's go.
On the other hand, has a total of 42 F-16s in their inventory, but it's unclear yet how many of them will be sent. The first thing you need to know is how the Ukrainian Air Force has fared so far in the war with what they've had. As a former Soviet state, Ukraine's Air Force originally inherited a lot of Russian-designed aircraft when they became independent in 1991.
What exactly leads you to believe the Soviets were involved? Well,
Their go-to fighter jets for decades were the older versions of the MiG-29 Fulcrum and the Su-27 Flanker. Best estimates show Ukraine had around 50 MiG-29s and 24 Su-27s, which isn't a lot to go up against the reported 900 tactical aircraft Russia had in their aerospace forces, also known as the VKS. For this reason, analysts predicted a grim forecast for the Ukrainian Air Force just prior to the February 2022 invasion, since Russia had an immense numbers and technological advantage on paper. Yet the assumed Russian air supremacy never came to be, and instead the Ukrainian airspace remains in this contested stalemate to this very day in late 2023. Ukraine's air defense systems and fighter jets forced the Russian VKS to be more cautious with its air missions. This allowed Ukrainian pilots to use hit-and-run tactics to punish any overextended Russian aircraft before retreating back behind their air defense screen. It wasn't all good news for Ukraine, though, and their Air Force suffered heavy losses in the first phase of the invasion. They lost 62 planes in 2022. Thanks to new tactics and more conservative approach, those losses have dropped to just 7 in 2023. But the fact remains, Ukraine's Soviet-era jets are essentially irreplaceable, making each jet and pilot loss a major blow. On paper, when you look at the capabilities of the former Soviet MiG-29 and the Su-27 jets that Ukraine already flies, they have a lot in common with the F-16. All three fighters were introduced just a few years apart in the late Cold War, between 1978 and 1985, with multiple upgrades since then to keep the platforms modern and add new systems or capabilities. The two Soviet jets were designed with more of a focus on air superiority and dogfighting, so they're actually faster and more maneuverable than the F-16. The F-16 is more of a multi-role platform for ground and air missions. It's like a Swiss Army knife of planes. It's a small performance gap. What we're talking about
exactly,
here...
Luke. Exactly, and that's why they're so damn useful, is they actually have the ability to not just provide air, like, strafe runs, but also to deliver bombs, deliver missiles. They are a jack of all trades, master of one, let's say. That's what that's one of the reasons why, again, I was a bit skeptical, but they do ultimately will need it. They will need these jets specifically for, fighting the fucking Russians and the Soviets. I don't know. I'm getting a little tired, Luke, if you haven't already tell. I have work in the morning, so I figured we're going to end it here.
Roger.
Yeah. But it's good to know that the Ukrainians now have access to fucking F-16s, which I'm very happy about. Let's hope they could use it, because I could be wrong. They might not be able to use it at all, and they might very well be able to master that shit like a duck fit into water, Anyhow, Luke, final thoughts?
Tell me why you're interested in me.
Let's start with physical intimacy. Come here.
Do you want a hug? Why do you want to go out with me? Do you even like me?
I can't say that I don't.
Where's that from?
It's from a anime I called Sui Sui Children, and that's one of the it's probably the most interesting dynamic, because the boy is the club president who's basically kind of forced the pretty girl into a corner to go out with him.
Jeez.
Because he caught her smoking at school. I won't report you, but you have to kiss me.
All right. Deal. Deal. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, be good to one another. Take care of each other. Remember, saving the West is a side quest.